Today we're going to take you through the installation steps for the Pronto Profile 4-in-1 tap and PROBOIL4E boiler. Before starting, check you have all the required parts, tools and understand the prerequisites for the job detailed in the installation guide. For example, check your mains hot and cold water pressure. It should be between the accepted minimum and maximum range showed in the guides. There should be a mains power socket available in a suitably safe place under the sink, away from the water connections, within 1.4 metres of the boiler. Check if any alterations to the existing supply pipework are required. It's important that all new pipework is fully flushed to remove debris. Skipping this step can cause problems with the tap or even damage your boiler. Shut off the domestic hot and cold water supplies, including turning off the heating system if the tap is not isolated locally. Hold the tap upside down like this and screw in the hollow fixing stud and tighten with a 6mm Allen key. Using the diagram in your installation guide, screw in the domestic hot and cold flexible tails. These only need to be hand tight. Now insert and tighten the boiling water flexible tail into the base of the tap. This hose is marked with a red 110°C label. Locate the black rubber seal into the groove on the base of the tap. The tap's designed to fit in a 35mm diameter hole. Pass all the flexible hoses and data connection through the sink or worktop, taking care not to trap the data cable between the sink and the tap. Depending on your installation, use the black gasket, metal horseshoe, white plastic triangle bracket and nut to fix the tap to the sink or worktop. Inset sinks like the one shown require this white bracket to stabilise the tap. Fit the metal horseshoe over the fixing stud. Tighten the fixing nut with either an adjustable spanner or a 17mm box spanner. Solid surfaces and granite inset sinks don't need the bracket, but they do require the black rubber gasket. Wind some PTFE tape around the thread of the grey plastic 1/4" push-fit adapter supplied with the filter. Screw it into the brass adapter and tighten with spanners. Place a small fibre washer into the brass adapter. Fit and tighten the adapter to the tap's hollow fixing stud. To get the best performance from your filter, it's important to set up the filter bypass correctly according to the water hardness at the site. Use the water test strip provided to establish the water hardness reading. Take this reading and add 2 degrees Clark, that's 30 parts per million, to your result. Local water authority also provide this online. Now use the table in your installation guide to determine your filter head bypass setting from 0 to 6. You'll see a numbered scale on the underside of the filter head. Use the supplied key to set the dial or push and rotate to move the dial to the correct bypass setting. Create a stub of 15mm copper pipe and fix it to the mains cold water isolation valve. Then attach the 3-way T-valve using a compression nut and olive. Add another short length of 50mm pipe to the outlet of the T-valve and tighten that. This pipe length will vary, allowing you to connect it to the tap's blue stripe cold water flexible tail. Firmly hand tighten the grey push-fit adapter onto the T-valve and make sure the valve is in the off position. Here's our example showing it before and after the alterations to our pipework. Find a suitable location for the filter head. Don't mount it above a power socket, and it needs to be close to the T-valve and accessible for filter changes. Drill and fit the fixing screws, leaving them 5mm from flush, and fit the filter head onto the wall or cabinet. Included are lengths of 3/8 and 1/4" blue pipe which can be cut to length to allow a tidy installation. Pipe ends must be cleanly and squarely cut and free from kinks. First measure and cut a length of 3/8 inch blue pipe and install it between the T-valve adapter and the filter head inlet. Insert the small grey push-fit adapter into the filter head outlet. Now cut a length of 1/4" blue pipe and fit it to this adapter. Push the other end onto the supplied push-fit T, normally directly below the tap. Push the T firmly onto the pipe. Cut another suitable length of 1/4" blue pipe and leave enough length to reach to the tap's hollow fixing stud push fit assembly shown here on the illustration. Fit the remaining length of 1/4 inch blue pipe to the push fit T. We'll trim and connect this to the boiler at the next stage. We're now ready to fit the filter cartridge. Write on the installation date, remove the dust cap and align the notches on the filter head to locate it, then push up and rotate fully from left to right. Now reconnect the mains hot and cold water supplies to the tap's flexible hoses and tighten fully with spanners. Roughly position the boiler to check sufficient length of 1/4 inch blue pipe is available. The power lead should reach the socket and the boiler should be accessible to the consumer and have a 10mm airflow gap on all sides. When you're happy, mark its position, measure, drill and fit the fixing screws at 90mm centres, leaving them 5mm from flush. Remove the blue and red transportation caps and tip any residual test water down the drain. Ensure that the mesh rubber seal is seated correctly to the boiler's inlet. Check that the flat rubber seal is inside the blue wing nut. Then hand tighten the blue wing nut adapter. Now push on the 1/4 inch straight connector to the wing nut. Check that the red 8mm outlet connector contains the pre-installed rubber seal and fit it to the red boiler outlet. Plug the power cable into the side of the boiler and hook it up onto the fixing screws. Measure and cut the 1/4 inch blue pipe from the push fit T to reach to the boiler's inlet. Leave an extra 200mm to allow for easier boiler servicing. Cut the pipe and firmly push it into the straight connector. Then do the same for the remaining length of blue pipe, but this time push it into the grey 1/4 inch push fit adapter fitted to the tap's hollow fixing stud. Place the fibre washer in the 110° flexible hose from the tap and screw in the red tap connector. Tighten with spanners. Take the silicone tube and rough out the minimum length needed to connect it to this red connector. Then add 50mm, mark it and cut cleanly. Now firmly push the silicone tube onto the barb tap connector. Make sure the boiler's output is clean and push on the silicone tube. You must use the silicone tube and supplied red connectors, even if it is only a short length. Do not use additional cable ties or clips, they are never needed, and never connect the tap's flexible hose X5 directly to the boiler's output C. Use the supplied black extension to connect the tap's data cable to the boiler's data port. Use the 2 Velcro straps to secure the cable. The boiler is now fitted and ready for commissioning. Turn on the mains hot and cold water supplies at the service valves and open the 3-way T valve. Now check the installation carefully for leaks. Plug in the boiler and turn on the mains power socket. Place one of the hotkeys onto the front of the tap, turning on the 98° water. The boiler will display an E3 error code showing that there is no water in the tank. This is normal. It will take a few minutes for the water to emerge from the centre of the tap spout, so be patient. Once it does, run it for a further 5 minutes to fully flush the system. Check again for any leaks. After it is fully flushed, remove the hotkey from the tap to stop the water flow. Now you can turn on your boiler by pressing and holding the standby key for 1.5 seconds. Use the plus button to set the temperature to 98 degrees. It will now take approximately 10 minutes to fully heat. When the display shows ready, use the hotkey to turn on the tap's 98° water until it runs cold. When it does, remove the hotkey and let the boiler fully reheat. When the display reads ready, the commissioning process is complete. Don't forget to leave the user guide for the customer.